Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Half the Race Gone. My name is DirtenDK, and I am here today with the smooth Traels666.
Hi guys.
Yeah. And we are here for round 4 of the TSR M3 WTC. Stand up against cancer.
Stand up to cancer.
Stand up to cancer is, as I'm corrected, is of course
Stand up to it.
stand up to it. It's what we're doing today, and you'll be seeing a lot of really nice one-off special liveries in relation to this.
Yeah, ashamed to admit that we didn't actually have a special edition livery, but unfortunately there simply wasn't time to do anything up to the high demands that we as a team put on our visual aesthetics, I guess you can say.
I don't know how to follow up on such poetic speech.
I was just bullshitting, to be honest.
Yeah, we didn't have the time.
We didn't see and we didn't have the time, so whatever.
That's what happens. But we are here, as I said before, round 4 of the TSR M3 World Tour Championship from Suzuka. Or I'm sorry, this is round 5. I have a thing with making we're editing the video as we speak, editing the title also. I did this last time.
But it's no big deal, we'll get it fixed real quick. This is obviously round 5 of the TSI WTC.
Round 5, which means it is the penultimate round of the championship. And for race 1, I thought of a new feature that we could do. It's gonna take just a little second, but we are gonna go through the grid in walk mode.
Wow.
I think that's a little
fancy
cool.
Stuff.
We can take a look at the liveries of the cars even closer, checking out all the details.
I'm so relieved that for the first time in like 3 rounds I'm actually wearing the right driving gear, because you're actually going to see people's driving gear. I know at least one driver had special kit and helmet for this event, the Stand Up to Cancer event as well.
The standards for we have some high standards in this series for liveries and all things related to that.
It's a visually pleasing series.
Anyways, in pole position for the sprint race, for the 4-lap sprint race, we have Addy. In P2, we have Dad 24DH, the Brit. In P3, we have that is a livery. It's going to be hard to call. That is Flick Flock. It's a Marlboro car.
Flick Flock in the Marlboro car.
Flick Flock
completely done up in the Stand Up to Cancer imagery here.
So in P4 we have Tron, all alone Tron, and in P5 it is Traels666 himself.
That's me.
In P6 it is myself, DirtenDK. In P7 we have the series organizer and veteran driver VRS Stick. In and that must be 8th position. Yeah, it is. We have T5 Black. In P9 we have JC. In P10 White Flight, one of the top spot contenders, also the Norwegian. And rounding off, winner of last round's long race on Brands Hatch, the extremely eventful race we had there was GT Welsh. He will be in last position for this race. So we have 4 rounds coming up for you here at Suzuka. And without further ado, let's get them rolling. We are off here, rolling start. So we'll have the best possibilities of getting everybody through turn 1 cleanly. This is a first turn that is really known and feared for being difficult when you're close.
It's a crazy turn to do even on your own, and then dealing with a bunch of overexcited lads in underpowered cars. It's gonna be people daring each other to brake as late as humanly possible. Let's see how we get along here.
So
just about coming into the braking zone here.
Eddie there seeming to do so nicely and cleanly.
This one turning out not to be, as the subtitles usually put it in our videos, the heartbreaking zone. It's just a braking zone. Good job from everyone getting a clean exit there.
As we have here, it's Dad and Eddie almost getting too wide through Dunlop there. Oh, it's not Dunlop yet, it's just through the S's, I'm sorry about that. Anyway, still also with Flickflock getting involved there in the mix there at the top of things.
Dad getting along on the inside, he has the run here.
Oh, almost getting...
They're gonna go 3 wide, he's looking to the inside, is Flickflock.
As they are really bunching up down towards Daxter there.
Contact between Addy and Flickflock. We have Flickflock off. Who's that? Went off as well. Dad now has a bit of a gap up front. See the bunch there, 2 wide, 3 wide. Oh, someone had a bit of a tail moment in the back.
Oh, and just a touch to the back of Eddie there, sends him a little bit wide, still gets a quite a good run, and then a little contact there afterwards also.
Just getting those cars straightened out with the help of each other. That's good of you to help out.
I'm also always glad to be of assistance here. T5 Black, he is in P6.
I've gotten past Whiteflight and Welsh, and I'm trying to make up the gap to the huge bunch we have here in the front. You're leading that pack.
Oh, that is Eddie going wide, taking the Sebastian Vettel line there through Spoon Corner, I'm sorry. Still that 24DH leading here. Can he hold on for, well, the final chicane and then 3 more laps it will be? As JC and T5 almost go too wide there, but T5 just slots in behind. With yourself for company there right behind, also VRS Stick there in 3rd position there with a little gap up to myself in turn, also a little gap up to that 24. Still at this moment, VRS Stick. Surely he would love to be able to contend for 2nd place and even better places than that to keep his championship hopes alive.
Absolutely, that's Dad 24DH across the line in the lead. He took up that position after the first few corners and has built out quite a bit of a gap that you're now trying to bridge across.
Oh, I think... Oh, there's a yellow flag. Oh, the curse of the commentator.
The commentator hits that 24DH straight in the bollocks. You're now in the lead.
And that is a dangerous position in this series, in this car, to put me. We have seen over the course of this series so far. Let's see if I can pull off such a performance once more. Surely would love to.
You see, Stig is already closing the gap a bit, it looks like. With JC just staying right behind him.
I say JC looking very competitive here at Suzuka, looking really to have a strong pace. Being able to follow VRS Stick around here, not really putting too much time, really getting sideways there through the first of the Daxers.
Might have just hit the brakes a bit too hard on the turn-in, but he held it together nicely.
Now it's C5 getting under pressure from yourself up towards the hairpin. See you having a dive to the inside. Oh, there's just a slight bit of contact, so difficult.
I hold off a little bit just to give him the chance to get the run out and slot back in, because I did touch him under braking, flashing him a bit there to apologize. As you see, in doing so, I actually squeezed Whiteflight a little bit.
Yeah, now
sorry about that, buddy.
And you really did turn yourself into a stopper for Whiteflight and Welsh. They're all bunched up very closely behind you now as you come through the 2 spoon curves. And exit is all important here on the long straight that is going down towards 130R. The extremely quick left-hander here at Suzuka.
It's tucked in. He looks to the outside, doesn't quite have the pace. Tucks right back in. Is he gonna try a brake move through? Please don't do it. This is not a corner. Thank you.
It's
not a corner where you try to go on the inside.
Oh, as well, she has a big moment there at the back.
Saves it somehow.
Saves it somehow. It didn't look like a car that was on course to being saved there.
Good job on you, Welsh.
So we have the action going off here
further back.
Addy in P9.
Few of the stragglers here.
Tron also haven't had a bad run here also over the first couple of laps. And can I just say at this point, it's so nice to see all of you in chat. It's so nice to see you're active. It's so nice to see that you are communicating with us. And we find it lovely. Please do go on. So VRS still in second position. He has JC for company still. T5 now up into P4. So he has taken you along for a ride up there through the bunch. And it looks like you are getting the better line here up towards Dunlop. So might be able to... Still a bit of a gap there. White Flight haven't lost a little bit of ground.
Yeah, we're going really fast as T5 and I remember we were catching up to JC and Stick at this point. And you can see that clearly in the gap slowly building to White Flight and Welsh, who are not exactly slow guys themselves. So at this point I'm not...
Here as Welsh goes to what will become the outside as they come up towards the hairpin here. Let's see if he will be able to pull off. That is a difficult move. White Flight keeps it
stays
close
on the brakes,
there,
just
tidy.
a bit long enough to...
Oh, but it gets very, very wide there and might open up.
Look at the cutback.
Oh, he's just slots in there behind White Flight.
Strong exit from the Norwegian to stave off that cutback attempt.
Yeah, very much so. He has been turning out to be a very strong and competitive driver, also knowing how to handle himself in close combat with the others. White Flight.
These two have just been running along together now in tandem for quite a while. It doesn't seem like JC wants to commit to an aggressive move. He just kind of wants to follow this pace and maybe save some fuel as well. It's interesting to see because further back it's a bit more chaotic.
Saving fuel at this race really makes no point really here at JC. He has a look up the inside. Oh, I didn't see if there was contact there, but Stick just goes massively wide there. But able to save it there and goes right back in up the inside. Right back there and takes back P2 there, but now JC comes to the outside there, getting a little bit squirmy.
Moment. Out of nowhere, I pop through.
There with a superior exit of the chicane there, now taking second position as you head off to the final lap of the sprint race. This is some really fantastic racing. JC now up the inside of Stick, coming down towards turn 1. Will he be able to make it stick? He certainly could now. Now as
T5 spins.
Horrible luck for T5, just getting that little bit too wide, coming through turn 1. JC now holding on to third position, but having overtaken VRS Stick there, who got a poor exit from the last chicane onto the last lap. He will have some making up to do now. JC is still somewhat close to Traels, but he goes a little bit wide there, and that will compromise the line through Dunlop and make the turn that a little bit tighter. Now White Flight and Welsh are too wide, coming down towards the Daxers. There is just action all over the field right now, as White Flight just has to tuck in once more. Seems like Welsh had the run on him there.
Yeah, I miss a gear here and understeer into the gravel.
That's JC just goes straight into the wall. He tries to get the run on you.
Yeah,
doesn't get the traction. Tries to avoid.
Maybe tries to avoid me. I didn't actually see that it was that close to me that he went off. It might have been. And I continue to.
Oh no! Oh, F's in chat for that one there. That was GT Welsh getting turned into an absolute passenger there.
To be honest, in my car it felt like it was the slightest of touches the first time, and then the second time it was like the netcode bumpy thing a lot. But looking at it here, it looks like I just rammed him twice, so I don't know. Not a good one from me. I held off a little bit. That made White Flight, who'd been lurking for a long time, suddenly grab P2.
White Flight came from nowhere.
If you thought I came from nowhere, look at where White Flight came from.
Came from absolutely nowhere. Being
great opportunistic driving from him. He's in P2. I have the run on him here. I've decided to continue racing just for now, just to see if I can make up that position. I have a really strong run here.
White Flight also gets a good run through, 130R.
Inside, but he cuts late. I have to brake to the outside really late, and that ruins my line.
Yeah, you overshoot it there.
And I decide immediately to wait
the
for
Verstappen
Stick.
line there.
And I decide to wait for Stick because I ruined him before. So that's gonna make him P3.
Good sportsmanship of you as White Flight.
Already crossed the line.
I've crossed the line. White Flight takes P2, and Stick rounds up the podium for the sprint race here with you in P4. Right in front of the T5 GT Welsh. JC down in P7, so really unfortunate there on the last lap for JC. He was looking so strong. Dad also with terrible luck here.
Great start from him, but
fantastic
just
start.
Couldn't keep it going for long enough. That's very unfortunate.
Flickflock, who also had some poor luck there on the first lap through the Daxos getting into the gravel. He finishes in P9, Tron in P10, and Addy comes around to finish him off in P11. And that concludes the sprint race.
Yeah.
As Welsh notes in chat that he probably should have been in second position, but there was, as it looked from the replay cam we were watching there was just nowhere to go. A Stick got spun and got out of control, and he was just there and right in front of him.
Yeah.
That's what happens with. I've said it before.
Not a good one from me.
That's what happens. It also happened to me at Brands Hatch, and we're so close, all of us, especially on these opening laps. So sometimes these contact moments are just, even though we do our best to avoid them, we are not. We're just human.
Yeah, but we can all agree that Welsh was absolutely robbed there, and
Welsh was definitely robbed there.
It actually put Stick right back on the line, and he was pretty close to me by the end, and it was easy to let him through. So happy accidents for Stick, less so for Welsh. That was very unfortunate.
That's true. So, as we are about to get the 15-lap mini enduro off the line, I say, should we, because I haven't thought about this, should we do another walkthrough of the pit or of the grid? I'd say it's hardly even necessary.
Yeah, for next time maybe it makes more sense to do it on this mini enduro.
Yeah,
and for the next time, which is also last time, but still.
That's true.
What do you guys think?
Hit us up in chat. What do you think? Should we have or should we just drop the walkthrough of the grid completely? I just thought it was a good idea to have a chance to show off really in detail the really cool liveries that I know some of you guys are spending a lot of time making and perfecting also. So anyways, enough talk about that. Let's get the race off the line. We have myself in pole position with White Flight in P2. Stick is in third with yourself, sir. Traels666 in P4 with T5 in P5. Welsh in 6th, JC in 7th, in 8th it's Dad 24 in 9th, it's Flickflock all alone in 10th is All Alonatron, and Addy 21NL is in 11th place. As we hit the line and the start is off.
Absolutely flying start from yourself there. Just motoring along. White Flight is in P2, Stick is in P3. I'm looking to the inside, holding off, waiting a bit, trying not to be the wrecking ball I was in the first race. T1 is always a bit subdued on the first lap.
Especially of these
cars like this, it's mostly on your own if you have an accident. So far there's been no position changes at all. That doesn't happen a lot through T1 in this series.
No, definitely not. And I think it also just goes to show the respect that all the drivers have for T1 here at Suzuka, because you can go for a move, but it's so easy to ruin your own race there as White Flight gets a little squirmy through Dunlop. Now he just
loses the pace a bit, and that's gonna put Stick. He had an option on the outside, but that's a crazy move to try.
Exactly so.
Wisely held off there.
Exactly.
But that bit of hesitation is going to put me right in the mix. But I hold off as well. It's a wise boy.
So White Flight holding on to second position. Stick and yourself, Traels, right behind. No changes here in the top order. Welch has moved up into P5, and T5 is down at the P6.
Still right there though. Everything still to race for here. Even further back, it's still very close between most of the guys. We've had Addy, who's had some horrible luck today. He has damage to the front.
He has damage, but
What? We don't even have damage in this series. What was that? Welcome to the buggy world of GC Sports streaming.
I don't know what that was.
He had magical damage first.
I know Stick. Yeah, we could have had light damage, and that's what I want to know, because I know Stick is watching along there. So at some point he might be eating dirty fries by his message, is what it sounds like at the moment. But if you're here listening, Stick, can you tell us if you had put damage on for this lobby, anyways? White Flight getting a good run there through 130R.
I made my way past Stick down the straight. I got a great exit and was just able to breeze past pretty much, and not too much hassle there. Stick is still right behind me and looking to make that place back up.
But you got a super strong exit there, visibly a really strong exit from the chicane there as you fly up to White Flight.
Yeah. I'm flying up to him, but it's not exactly the type of corner where you can dive bomb. I move,
but it's not impossible to
space to brake, but I don't go for the move because.
But also just putting the pressure onto White Flight, making him know that you are there and you are looking for any kind of opportunity that might arise for you to overtake. This is the kind of things that mind stressing.
JC has moved up.
Oh yeah, we had Stick has had an issue. Stick is down into P7. Stick is down into P7.
No, ladies and gentlemen.
Looked like he had a bad run through turn 1. That's the only real place I can imagine there, because he was going quite fine here through the S's as we just see him exit him those.
I'm continuing to hound White Flight here. I'm glued to his bumper and I'm just showing that I'm looking on every corner, even though I don't actually want to make a move, just to put the pressure on him. Here I get a great exit, but I'm forced to look to the inside because he's already on the defensive outside line.
Yeah, but that
gives him the inside.
Yeah, exactly. That gives
so
you.
I'm on the outside of the braking
brakes very early there.
I still think he's there, so I'm doing a lot to give him space, but he wasn't even there. That gives him a good run, but not enough to pull past. I'm into P2.
So White Flight there. I'd say actually battling a bit less for that second position that I would have imagined him.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought we were side by side all the way through the chicane until I saw the replay, because I feel like he should have tried to hold that inside line. It's such a sharp hairpin.
Yeah, you're right, and it's definitely the faster line.
Absolutely, and I was very surprised to see in the replay that he held off that easily.
Yeah, it also seemed to me that he just braked a little unnecessarily early, perhaps. But it's always difficult to call in those two wide situations.
And I gotta say, it felt pretty insane when I was on the outside through that hairpin, so I understand him holding off, because it felt a bit sketchy, to be honest, but that's racing.
And also sad to read that Stick had some technical problems once more this season, this time with his gear change staying in neutral. That is certainly not gonna help the speed of the car.
Absolutely not.
Or even worse, when it happens in a downshift into a corner where you're actually depending on the engine braking, which just doesn't happen.
Just as you saw me do when I was in P2 in the sprint race.
You misshifted.
And I was in neutral and I just understeered off.
Yeah.
Nice little shot of the snake of M3 cars just making their way around the track here.
Almost the entire field getting in one frame there together. That's super nice to see. White Flight still in third, with Welsh now in fourth. JC has moved up into fifth position.
Yeah, he's still charging. It's looking good for JC here. He's been showing a competitive pace on this track all the way through the day. Nice detail with the Recaro decal having two different colors, by the way. JC, I know you're watching. That's it there. T5 is in P6. He's had a bit of bad luck, but as we said, I think it was last week, he really is a survivor, and he's always going to be there by the end of the race. So let's see how he does today. He might have Stick for company making his way up towards the front again. A couple of fast, hard-wearing guys here far back at this point in the race. It's still early days.
It is very early days at this race still, but it is also true that some of the main contenders here had some poor luck through the opening phase of the race. As you see, the two Danes in front just pulling out now a little bit of the gap, as we also see White Flight and GT Welsh looking like they are beginning to have a battle here. As we had a super shot, I must say, of the entire field there passing through the hairpin. Very nicely.
Production value.
Production value +1. Now GT Welsh still just charging along. White Flight now having gotten the better exit out of the hairpin as they come down to Spoon.
Yeah, he was moving along there, and that gave him a bit of the space we thought he was losing from the wide shot. Was that a swervy moment or lag?
It looked laggy to me.
Hard to tell.
It looked a bit laggy to me.
It looked more laggy. Yeah, you can see he's pulling away from Wells just a tiny bit here as well. He got a good exit, so that was obviously only lag. Starting to see a bit of a selection being made here. You have quite a bit of a gap in front. I'm actually, at this point, I think I'm still closing up.
Yeah, this is the moment where you're closing up.
It's close to 2 seconds here. Then we have White Flight trying to break the bond he has with his fellow racers JC and T5. Stig is trying to make that bridge, as well as we call it in bike racing, so I'm continuing to call it bridging.
Yeah, bridging the gap.
But you can see it on the shot here as well. Can we get that? Can I get the shot back? No, I can't.
It's not.
But you can see it on the map as well. We have a bit of a split going here. These front guys are still continuing to just push the pace.
Slide just has a bit of a moment there, getting sideways.
Too hard on the gas through that long right-hander.
Yeah, exit speed is really important, because you can take a line where you're still carrying the speed that you gain up through the S's here. So if you get a bad exit down there, or not all the way through the S's, but for at least the first 2 of them, you are actually going to be losing time, because you just can't carry the same amount of speed into the corners and through the corners. Anyways, T5 now still
looks to be gaining on that group. I described the 3 guys. It's going to become a 4-way group here. He's had a very fast few sections to suddenly be right here. Suddenly, well, it was kind of what we were expecting, but great driving from the Swede nonetheless. This is now a 4-way battle for P3.
As Welsh looks to get up to the outside of White Flight there, but kind of canceled out the move. And now all of a sudden he is looking to go a little bit more defensively, as JC is getting close there. Can he get the exit down towards Spoon? White Flight making a run for it now. And at the same moment, T5 is slightly catching up from behind also. This is also a race where we'll have to take, and it's not something we've really mentioned yet, but the fuel saving is going to be a factor also through this race. So as White Flight just goes way wide there. Yellow flags are out. And he is way down the order.
Humbling down the order here.
Humbling down, and he lost bucket loads of time there.
Into P10, that's disastrous for the Norwegian. Can we get some Fs for the Norwegian racer? White Flight won. He had a brilliant first few laps here, and was trying to make his escape from that battle for P3.
Maybe just
what a shame.
Just pushing that tad too hard there.
Yeah, and it's you have to be experienced to know how to handle when you realize that you're going wide in those corners, because the AstroTurf is so slippery that you have to react immediately and go wider.
Yeah.
And when you spin like that, that's because you're trying to hold something that you should have let go. And that's very unfortunate. But it's so easy to say that sitting here with a keyboard on my lap and not a steering wheel in my hands.
Hindsight is easy. Just to mention that also JC, he says that his Recaro decal is kind of, and he describes in chat how it's made. JC, very competent livery maker, I must say.
Absolutely. I've been very impressed by this.
So any livery questions should easily go to him, I think. Because he certainly
is quite the battle getting between 3 guys.
Stop
Welsh
talking about liveries and start talking about this racing, because GT Welsh now is in 3rd position. He started somewhat down the order there and certainly picked up some places here. Now JC's also been taken up through and along.
He got a nice wide entry into the long left-hander here, and that's going to give him a great exit. You can see he has a bit of space coming into this right-hander and then braking. This is when you don't want people to be too close to you. Getting that done nicely, good speed. You can see he has a bit of a gap. It's not as close as it used to be. As I say that, JC is charging down here.
He got a flying exit there, and he might have a shot. No, he just tucks it in and tries to get the exit on Welsh here. Coming down to
what? See, they lose a bit of pace being so close to each other, being a bit more cautious, because Stick is just moving up here.
Stick
trying to make this a four-way battle once more.
Yeah, he took advantage of White Flight going wide there, and is up into P6 now. And those spaces ahead of him are certainly also opening up. He is by no means out of contention yet.
In the front, you're moving away at a considerable rate, setting faster laps than anyone else pretty much at this point. I think I've made my first few little mistakes that cost me time. You can see I only set 1:30 to 1:2:34, and you said 3. So
yeah,
bye Traels from the race for the win here. It's looking like that at this point.
We're still only.
It's still early days, but certainly a lot of mistakes to make if you want to.
Oh, let's see here, 3 wide into the last chicane. Look at that!
What are you doing?
That was the move of the season. I have
basically rarely touched. That was amazing.
I have rarely seen. Did you see? Because he came from behind through 2 cars to take P3.
Why did we look at ourselves? Never look at yourselves.
It was amazing.
We are very
move.
Sorry, gentlemen. That was amazing.
If just we had a replay.
JC's gonna have the move here.
JC comes. No, he's just gonna have a look.
Had a quick glance down the inside, but decided against it.
No.
That bit of swerving is gonna give Stick a bit of a run. No, because JC gets amazing exits.
Yeah, he certainly does go quite well there on the exits. There's a bit of contact there. Stick just forces his way on the inside, rubbing paint. Now they're 2 wide. Can you hold on to that? That is some proper racing there.
Impressive cornering speed from the Brit there.
He just thinks, and Welsh takes advantage too. Welsh goes along. That is one of the best opportunistic moves I have seen since the last chicane a lap ago when T5 came flying in through there. We are really getting some fantastic racing here for P3 right now. T5 goes a little bit wide.
Absolutely on the line there. He loses a bit of pace. That's going to give Stick the chance.
Yeah, he's going to get
outside unless he's very fast through the kink.
Oh, he is very fast. Stick just might not get... Oh, he gets a good exit even.
That he had the full racing line and took advantage of that. So
yeah,
very good recognition there.
Yeah, that was a great move, and Stick is back up into 3rd position. That is really awesome racing here. The positions are changing almost quicker than we can keep track of.
Can I just say I called it that Stick and T5 would make a recovery, and here they are, bumper to bumper in the battle for P3. They've obviously it's a very hectic race for these guys, and it's not for either of us in front. So the gap by now is pretty considerable already.
Yeah, because each time they have some kind of battle, they lose.
They lose time compared to guys that are just running on their own. I'm not able to catch you at this point, so we're both just time trialing around, basically trying to set clean, steady laps and not have to deal with anything.
And fuel save. I did my fuel saving also. Oh, as Welsh goes off there, Welsh has a bad moment, and it didn't look like he saved it this time. Now that is also through.
Back on track pretty quick.
Oh, it's now with the gravel on the tires there. As we just also catch Tron having a bit of a deep entrance to the chicane there. Terrible luck for GT Welsh.
JC's still keeping up here, even though the 2 resurgent racers are really motoring along.
Look at the JC comment there. Go. That was a great one.
Boom! Back to P6.
Great one. But that is really the racing we're seeing now. No one is certain of anything at this moment, it seems. And they are really making the most of Suzuka, which is actually known for being a track that, at least in faster cars, is very hard to overtake on. But that is the charm of racing these, let's say, slower cars. They're not really that slow, so you can get quite a move on in them anyways. But
certainly to the point of the limit of the grip.
Yeah.
But yeah, it certainly gives you some more options to race, even on tracks that aren't normally known as passing tracks. You're still able to pull off moves. They are just that much more on the limit, and it's a lot of fun.
At least we haven't
setting quite an impressive pace here for a little while. He's built up a little bit of a gap. T5 is pushing it. I think maybe he lost a bit of pace coming out there.
Yeah, he got a bad exit, and now JC.
Great exits.
This is a move we've seen attempted.
T5 doesn't let him through this time, and
he tries to find the space for the cutback, but gets a little swervy moment.
That's the first time we've seen the inside guy really defend his racing line there, and that's interesting because it's so much faster there. That good racing from T5 to actually hold his inside line, even though it's probably pretty scary. JC getting a look on the outside, holding off.
He is all over the bumper of T5 at this moment, and now just getting a run up.
Didn't quite get the exit. He's been getting a lot today, and that's not what he needed if he wanted to make his way past. He might be able to build up a bit of a speed advantage here in the slipstream, though he doesn't by the looks of it. These little skirmishes between these two guys is everything that Stig needs to continue to pull ahead a little bit.
Yeah, Stig is now pushing his advantage ever so slightly and getting some clean space between both in front and behind, just being able to focus on his pace right now instead of the battling, and that will only help his chances of holding this position all the way through the race.
Speaking of resurgent guys, Dad is into P7 now.
Dad, very strong recovery there. White flight in P9 still after his bad moment there.
Well, she's back up to P6. I think he just passed that, to be honest.
Yeah, it could look like it.
Had to, for this to make sense.
Looking at the lap times here, the recent lap times of GT Wells, certainly
I think
looking like...
I called his resurgence a bit too late, actually. He had an incident just before I said it. Still a lot to race for in different positions here. This battle is still developing. JC doing a great job of keeping up with the charging Swede here, who's been setting a blistering pace for most of the race, even despite dealing with the rest of the pack.
Yeah, that's really been setting a limiter on how fast they could actually go, because they've been doing so much battling these 3-4 drivers there who was in this 3-way, 4-way battle here for a long time. Last couple of laps that it's actually eased off now, that we have also passed the half the race gone marker, more or less. JC just looks to get the exit on T5 here, coming down to 200R. And always interesting as they come down towards Spoon, which isn't really a corner made for overtaking, but you can hold back in the first lift and then really focus on getting a strong exit while keeping the back tidy on the second. That will give you the chance. There's T1. T5 goes black.
He holds it.
T5 goes. He goes black.
Back to T5.
He goes
T5 black to P5.
And JC taking P4 and getting a really good run on T5 here as they come down to towards 130R.
It's always nice to have that little bit of a gap when you get a pass done, so you don't have to fear the instant counter move. It gives you a bit of a chance to settle into the feeling of now leading that battle.
So it's definitely settling now, it seems.
I'm afraid Dad might have had a bit more bad luck. All alone, Tron is now into P7.
He most certainly is, and Dad is now having white flight for company as they come down towards the chicane, it seems.
That's quite. Actually, white flight is battling with
white flight is happening.
The man himself, Fake Flock. Looking to the outside here, that's not going to work today.
No, but it might give him the exit there, coming down towards turn 1 as White Flight
pushes it.
Yeah, and he goes a little bit wide here.
Inside, has the run, that's gonna bring him past.
Just say a nice little squeeze there being deployed from Flickflock. And certainly within all kinds of rules to limit the space of the opposition driver as he does it once more, just squeezes him out coming into turn 1 and takes track position. Strong work from Flickflock as White Flight. Is he able to keep it there? Yes, he is, but that was certainly a squirmy moment.
And Stick comments that it sounds funny when we say dad, and I agree wholeheartedly. Every time I say it, I cringe a little bit.
But what are we supposed to call him?
What should we call him instead?
2048? That's a...
So now he's just dad.
Stick still with the slight advantage of a couple of seconds down to now JC, who in turn still has just a little gap down to T5, but it isn't going to take much for T5 to close that, and we are never going to write him off. GT Welsh now looking to be resurgent once more, but is certainly still a bit of way back.
Certainly setting a pace that should make that possible. He's set 2:33.9 here, and that's a blistering pace.
That's a really, really quick lap from GT Welsh.
That's top-level stuff from what we did in testing, and as the race is showing at the moment, we have quite a good pace here.
Yeah. So, but it also shows because if you look at the minimap, Welsh is actually not too far away. He's closing up to these two now.
Yeah, he's been moving ever closer for a little while here, actually. They are losing a bit of time through battling in the front as well. T5 not giving up, and he seems to have made up a bit of the time he lost before.
And I think the gap down to Welsh from these two is about 4 seconds at this moment. But the spread is certainly happening at this time now. T5 getting a really good run here down toward turn 1, but he's just gonna tuck in behind.
It's just far enough that it's not possible
but he's looking
to any move, but he rails this corner.
Yeah, it seems to get a really strong exit up towards the S's, which is a turn where you can go too wide and maybe gain that track position, even though it is really difficult. It kind of requires the other driver to make a mistake and just go wide to give us space.
Pushing and just sliding a little bit, and it's so hard because you can't really follow the car in front. You have to follow your
JC as we
T5 perfectly takes advantage of that and just stays on that line, doesn't jiggle the steering wheel, doesn't panic in any way, just stays to the inside and moves past.
But you know what? He put on the pressure there through turn 1, up through the S's.
Yeah.
He forced that mistake onto JC.
That's a great psychological bit of psychological warfare there from
definitely, and it worked out to T5's advantage. Can I just say that? And he already now has a gap also, so also able to put him out of his slipstream and maybe just be able to catch up to Stick, who is still not further ahead that he is out of sight yet, so he will still be within mind.
In P7 we have Daddy.
Daddy-o! 24DH.
Papa Downhill, as I like to call him.
And White Flight in 8th still. Taking a look at the lap times of DRS Stick, they certainly also have stabilized.
Yeah, he's been enjoying the comforts of racing on his own for a while, for a bit of a space here, and that gives him time to settle into a good rhythm. You can see he's setting a fast lap on this one as well. He's getting to the point where the car is really starting to pick up pace due to burnt fuel. It doesn't weigh nearly as much anymore. And you can set some great laps even though the tires are starting to get a little bit tired, and at least enough that you lose that.
You lose the edge.
You lose the edge, but then there's like a pickup later when the gas starts to burn, when you start to go faster again because the car is lighter.
Yeah,
you can see he increases.
It's actually also visible on our lap times. You take a look at those.
Yeah, you can see it's just starting to pick up now.
Yeah.
And by the end, we're setting some of the best laps I think we set at all. I certainly set my best lap at all.
Yeah, I set my best lap on the last lap, and you also did, because you did a fantastic last lap, is what I remember. T5 still holding off JC with a bit of an advantage of just about a second,
Yeah,
I
he
suppose.
gained quite the gap through JC's little mistake. It was a costly one on one of the worst punts through the S's.
Yeah.
And he gained quite a bit of a gap, so JC has his work cut out for him here. He seems to be doing it well, though. He's picked up a little bit on him here.
But look behind, Welsh is getting closer. And at this pace, I think he is gonna make up the ground that he's behind before the end of the race.
Yeah, provided he's able to keep the pace advantage he has now, it should be possible. So let's see how that develops.
White Flight has had poor luck. Slick Flock has also had some poor luck.
Lonatron has had the poorest of lucks.
Yeah, it's been bad.
That's me.
We can also have a look at ourselves once in a while. It is okay, even though not much is happening there out at the front. So certainly not that interesting to see. But that is
Absolutely, Stick. Yeah, we'll try to see what that's like. Though I will say that at this race, I didn't fuel save at all. I know you did some, but you had quite a bit of fuel left at the end. Depending on your driving style, with this many laps, you could almost. I did it completely without fuel saving, and you could do that pretty comfortably. So this might not be the most economy-based race compared to some of the other ones we did, where you actually had to do a lot of fuel saving just to get through.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Saint Croix was especially difficult. And we saw some incredible action there coming on to the final lap.
Yep.
With T5 having to pit in and losing second position due to that, actually also losing the victory, with White Flight winning that round.
Steve just bragging in the comments that he was flat out even in neutral. I'm not sure why you're bragging about this, Stig, but but I guess that goes to show that this wasn't the most fuel economy based of the races we've seen in this series.
It certainly wasn't.
Which, to be honest, I felt was a bit liberating just to be able to race.
It was good, and this is also why I think the settings has been so good, because it's been differentiating from race to race,
dynamic from race to race, and it's really cool at this race that some guys had to fuel save and some guys didn't, which shows. I guess it's mostly based on, the fuel burning in the game is probably mostly based on throttle position, to be honest, in these cars. So I think depending on how you throttle through, for instance, the S's, I think that's what makes the difference. Yeah. And it's really cool to see that showing up, the driver's personality or whatever, the driver's style showing up in the game's mechanics.
Yeah.
Good job, PD.
Good job, PD. T5 holding on to P4 for now, but still has some gap to make up to Stick, and just through there, JC all of a sudden is really close to Wells.
Finding the limit of his brakes and his tires grip there, he held it off the curb, but that's not the way you're supposed to take that corner. He's been drinking the wrong Kool-Aid. Oh. I take the
Vettel line there.
Joker lap there.
That's the Sebastian Vettel line through Spoon Corner.
Holding it, keeping it going, and losing maybe about a small second or something like that.
Well done to yourself, sir, because that is not the worst of outcomes from being out there.
It's a scary thing. You can see. Oh, but look at Stick at this point. He's been closing up a little bit for a little while.
No, because a couple of laps ago, you put in a 2:33.1, which is a brutally fast lap.
Yeah, this is when I'm starting to realize that there's a chance that I'll lose by 10 seconds to you. And
I think this is not before later on. I think because we had this you were talking about this while we were racing. No, I don't want to lose with 10 seconds. I'm gonna give it the full hammer not to lose by 10 seconds. And I was like, Yeah.
That's how you crash, boy.
Yeah.
JC's continuing to put the pressure on T5 here. What a battle they've had for the last few laps. It's been great stuff, and we're gonna see more of it now. I think he's gonna... No, the gap is a bit too wide to give him enough of a slipstream to make this pass.
He does have a look up, and then he decides not to have a real push there.
Game look than anything, I think.
But he does get a better line there, as it looks like T5 went kind of defensive. Now it's reverse positions from last time around there, when it was T5 pushing JC in all legal means into making a mistake. Now it's
T5 maybe looking a bit more composed here.
Yeah, definitely so. JC looking to be sliding, just wanting to take in a bit more speed than the car and the tires can carry.
Great composure from T5 there, being faced with a hit of his own medicine and just not...
That is as cold. That is as cold as northern Sweden during the wintertime. Well done to T5 Black.
JC looking to regain what he lost here. Great line through there, very aggressive.
Welsh
further back. Welsh is on the same line.
But he's lost some space once more. As you see, he's also had a 2:38 on the last lap.
Some incident on the last lap, cost him about 3 seconds. That's gonna leave him a bit frustrated. Meanwhile, Daddy is still in P7, setting a nice pace. He's being confronted by the cold Norwegian wind that is White Flight, though.
And White Flight is getting close here. Will he be able to make some kind of effort? Oh, not really. Still just a bit too far away. Might just get the exit, however, here on the Brit. As they come through 200R down towards Spoon Corners.
Being forced to go around the outside. If he can stick to it on the outside there, it's going to become the inside, but he loses too much pace. He's going to have to slot back in.
Yeah.
And does so.
Anyway, White Flight still just trying to apply the pressure here to get past that 24 DH.
My dad is very strong, as you can see. So, my dad is faster than your dad, so he's moving away from White Flight here at quite a rate. I don't think there's anything White Flight can do. I've seen my dad lift a car once, and so yeah, you can see he's feeling the pressure already and going a bit wide there.
Stick still holding on to P3, but I think he perhaps might have made some kind of mistake or something, or had some issues there at some point, because
on lap 12 he lost a few seconds on his pace, so he's had some incident. You can see the gap to me is enlarged.
It has enlarged indeed, and now he might just have T5 for company before the end of the race.
You can see him lurking there in the back.
Yeah, and this will really give some blood on the tooth of T5.
T5 claiming to be talking on his cell phone in the middle of the race here. Sorry, Stick. Yeah, Stick claiming to be on his phone during the race there. I'm not sure.
That is some legend stuff indeed.
As I was saying, I'm not sure how the race organizers would feel about that. Obviously, they feel it's pretty nice.
Yeah, but I've actually, to be fair, I've done that at a bike race once.
Yeah, me too. I did selfies in a peloton once as well.
Yeah, so we're not complete strangers to that kind of on top behavior. Just a shame to see Stick just losing that couple of seconds now.
A shame. I want this battle to develop.
That is, of course, true.
Can I just make a quick weird cultural joke? I don't know if you know this, T5, but LUK, the sponsor you have, it's in Danish it's slang for shut up. So every time I see your car, it just says shut up down the side in Danish. Now you know that. T5's car is shouting at me to shut up, and I'm having to commentate all the time. 1, 2, 3.
Welsh is closing up on JC now as we are heading on towards the final lap. It is going to be really exciting. And let's also have a look, because it looks upon the map that not really that close yet. Still really close right behind there.
Stick is still losing time here. Is he... He has a lot of fuel.
Yeah, he certainly has a lot of fuel.
Seems to have fallen off the pace a little bit. It's hard to tell what's going on. Is he still on the phone, possibly?
He might still be.
Put down the phone, Stick. You're racing. You're in P3 here. No time to be chatting to who's it and what's it. T5 is focused, setting a great pace, quite a lot faster than Stick. He's gonna get right up there. You're setting a very fast pace here, I know. Trying to beat me by 10 seconds, I'm sure that's why. I'm doing everything in my power not to let that happen. I said I made a mistake on obviously.
Oh, once you make a little mistake there, just get squirmed.
Yeah,
but you are up by the fastest lap by 3.5
I made that mistake, and I still set a pretty fast lap here by the end. So it was
obviously
a fast
you are flying at this moment. Now let's see. I think there is some kind of closeness. Oh, not even there. Still some distance in between.
Pretty sorted between most of the people here now.
As you say that, there is kind of the closeness coming here of GT Wells closing up on JC here on the last lap. And we will also just have to keep an eye on the gap from Stick to T5 at this moment.
Yeah, it's still developing. I think Stick might be feeling the pressure, whether or not it's the pressure from his wife demanding that he picks up the phone, or the pressure from the very fast Swedish guy behind him in a black and pink M3. I'm not sure, but some kind of pressure he seems to be experiencing. I know what you're trying to do here is to beat my fastest lap. And you've set one hell of a lap. Let's see what the time is going to be here.
And let's also have a look at the fuel. Seeing Stick having more fuel left. So the lap time of my final lap is going to be 2:33.1464. So it's not even going to be your fastest lap. You have that already.
I come in with almost no fuel. My tires are probably the most worn of everyone.
And you do a 2:32.9. That is quite impressive.
In the end, I was in second by 9.99 seconds, by the way. Good job, me. Stick coming through in P3, or not. Oh, T5! That's not how to end a race. Side by side here,
And Welsh is going to take P5 from JC through the final.
Why did I look at the bullshit grey cars? We could have seen that developing. What a finish from GT Welsh and JC here.
Just like that from what we saw, that was like
so sorry, you guys. We didn't know you guys were epic like that.
Wide flag coming home into P7 with that 24DH, Daddy-O in 8th, and Tron in 9th position. The last finisher today, it seems. Should we do the rewind for once?
Yeah,
let's rewind.
Normally we don't really rewind because we kind of, it's easier if you just dictate that it's basically a live transmission.
Can we do Welsh?
But we'll do it for this one because...
Okay, so Welsh is coming through 130 down towards the last chicane. JC just seemingly gets a good entrance there. So Welsh gets a flying exit there.
Change the camera, damn it! Come on,
there he comes.
He just eases off, gets a horrible exit, eases. What even happened? It was better when we thought it was.
He says he had a penalty for cutting the chicane. So,
see, that's why we don't rewind.
That's why we don't rewind. It wasn't that.
It was better when we didn't know.
Yeah. Anticlimax. We are sorry, viewers.
Lessons learned here after it's gone. No rewind for you.
Anyways, it has been a great race. It's been a great round in general. I think we've seen some fantastic racing once more here from the TSR M3 World Tour Championship.
It's such a pleasure doing these M3 things because it's so chaotic and it has a bit of a relaxed vibe or something like that, which is really nice. So it's fun to comment on because there's always stuff going on and it's a bit loose. The racing, I love that.
It's certainly
especially my racing in the sprint race. How about that looseness?
That was a little loose.
It's a little loose.
It's a little looser. Round conclusions, or round conclusions. Let's call it that.
Yeah,
I think it was. Strangely, I think it was a fantastic round for me.
Who would have thought that? I think both of us agree that it was a pretty great race.
Yeah.
But to be honest, we were really surprised at how big the pace difference was. But seeing the race unfold like that, because I hadn't seen the full replay before.
No, me neither.
It totally makes sense because what a crazy battle you guys had behind us.
Yeah.
We got away scot-free early and could focus on racing our own pace, and we knew we had a very fast pace. But you guys were making passes left and right.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I was in that race, to be honest.
Yeah, you should have held back and just taken it on the last lap. It would have been much more fun.
I could have just done what I usually do, which is crash like every fourth lap or something.
Oh yeah, that would have
leaves it open to make passes all the time. But I wanted to try my hand at having a good race, so, so I did that.
Well
once.
done.
Also fun, but even more fun to watch you guys have that.
It was fantastic.
Great battle.
Fantastic watching.
The Japanese are pleased.
The Japanese will be pleased by the honor that you have shown racing.
Did we just talk about Japan without doing the accent?
Yes.
So yeah, leaving the stream pretty proud of ourselves at our achievement of not making the inappropriate Japanese accent for once. Thank you guys so much for tagging along. It's been a great pleasure having you back here.
It certainly has.
Hope to see you again. If not only next week for the last round of this, maybe stop by on Sunday for Nuke Shot Endurance Series.
On Monday.
On Monday.
We're gonna be racing
it on Sunday.
We're racing it on Sunday. That's the confusing bit, but
it's not really confusing. I just messed it up. If it was confusing, we'd have to explain it more.
That's true.
It's on Monday. It's gonna be Monday evening, and it's sweet.
It's gonna be Monday evening. The Nuke Shot Endurance Series. Second race from Dragon Trail.
Dragon Trail from imaginary Croatia.
Imaginary Croatia with the chicane of death. So I mean the last race was really worth watching, so go check that out if you want.
Yeah, they call it a bus stop, but it only stops race cars.
That's true. And it stops quite a lot of them. But anyways, it's been such a pleasure having you along. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for being so active in chat once more. It's always a pleasure to see.
Yeah, this is hilarious stuff.
It is truly hilarious. It's been so much fun today. It's been and thanks for all the great positive feedback. It brings warmth into our hearts, and it makes us very happy.
Whole Scandinavian hearts, they really need it.
Yeah.
Winter is not even coming; it's basically here.
Yeah.
So it's great to have you got the warmth of you guys. Okay, this is getting sappy.
It's getting weird.
It was already sappy. I was just illustrating the sappiness of it. But yeah, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
See you soon.
See you soon. Until next time, take care. Bye bye. My name is DirtenDK.
They know.
No, they don't.
My name is Traels666. Bye.
Bye bye.